welcome. This is an audio experience with Maximizing Moments with Milton.
All right, are you ready? I am ready. Okay, here we go. If you're ready, I am ready to rock and roll.
Hey Maximizers, thank you for joining me on this 2-in-1 episode with my good friend Dominick Domasky. I'm going to introduce him a little bit, and he's going to share some context as far as how he got up to this point and fill us in as far as his life, his journey, and where he's at right now that help you maximize the moments in your life. So Dominick Domasky is the author of 4 inspirational books, the founder of the inspiration sharing platform Motivation Champs. His greatest accomplishments are his 2 children as he aspires to be the best husband father he can be. He is a proud supporter of JDRF, an inspirational publisher, a motivational speaker, and a successful cold calling, door-knocking salesman. He is a speaker, storyteller, publisher, and sales expert, including inspirational author. Would you guys welcome Dominick? Dom, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. I'm honored.
So catch us up. Catch us up to today. Give us some context behind your bio.
Come on, man. Bring it on. Okay. So I will say I grew up pulling weeds and shoveling ditches in the fields of my dad's landscape company. So I did learn hard work and persistence through him. I saw him go out work 7 days a week. So I am a blue collar Pittsburgh guy. That's who you're talking to today. But about 23 years old, I decided to go out on my own. I didn't want to be an Ann's son, so I went out on my own, opened a restaurant. That was always something I dreamed of. About 3 years later, I was $500,000 in debt. I was bankrupt. I was broke. I had no job, no prospects, and that's who I was. And from that point, I just started building and coming back. That was the comeback story, and that's who I am.
Awesome, the comeback story. I'm curious, what kind of food did you cook?
I am Polish. I'm out of Pittsburgh. So it was American Italian.
Okay.
We had homemade pierogies. We had homemade lasagna, meatballs, everything like that. Giant fish sandwiches. They were a pound fish sandwich, and all kinds of stuff.
No, I'm picking up on the fact that you said you were at least $500,000 in debt, and I know I have some colleagues of mine that have been in $500,000 to $1 million in debt over time, and trying to come back and chip away at that and have paid that off, paid that back. Your story, the comeback story. Let's share more about the comeback story, Dom.
Well, I say, like, my last book I wrote was called The Journey of the Grunt. Okay. And I'm a believer that I am the grunt. I'm a guy that I've been the low man on the totem pole. I've been down and out. I've been punched in the face. I've even been cut from the team. So when I say about the comeback story, so I got the first job I could find. I got a job in sales, and I sold yellow page ads. That's how, right when the internet was about to take off. So it was right before people said, "What the heck are you doing with this phone book?" So I went around door to door selling yellow page ads, and that's how I got my start in sales. But what I did back then, my dad had given me an Og Mandino book when I was real young, and I started reading it, and I always studied a little inspiration. But when I was down and out and broke and things were just terrible, I started studying inspiration more and more and more. And so I read those books, and I studied and I studied, and I started implementing those lessons. And then when I was in sales, I started writing my goals down, and that was the first time I had really put things down on paper. And that was the seeds of writing books. And from there, I started thinking, hey, I have something to say. It's a little bit different. I might talk about going broke or getting beat up, but it's something inspirational, and that's how the publishing and the books.
Awesome. And how many books have you written, Dom?
Well, I think my newest one, How to Write a Book in 2020, I think it's my 5th. But one of the things that I do is at my root, if you were about to punch me or beat me up and you said, "Dom, what do you really do?" I'd say, "Milton, I share inspiration. So all I do, sometimes it might be a video of me and my daughter making slime. Sometimes it might be helping somebody else share their story, giving people a platform to share the sunset they saw, a quote they saw, and then help them publish books too if they're interested in that. Maybe they want to take it a step further. We do that. So it's all inspiration sharing. Now mine is like I said, the journey of a grunt. That's who I am. So I tell Pittsburgh style inspiration, I say, with a slice of humor.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you brought up your son Dominick, and I know you guys have a YouTube channel where you guys do a lot of things. Number one, share inspiration. But what got you started with your YouTube channel? I'm curious about this aspect, and having done some YouTube things, and but how did you get started, and what kind of turned you on to that?
Well, what happened is I'm a big believer that everybody takes their inspiration differently. Not everybody reads a book. Not everybody goes to hear a speaker. Not everybody is going to church or watching X, Y, or Z on TV. So I believe everybody's getting their inspiration somewhere different, and I want to be in all those places. So as the world starts to turn and people move more towards their phones and more towards video, I want to be in that. I want to be in that spot too. So it was just, it's 100% authentic, because some of it was, I think we started off, me and my daughter shooting trick shots, or me and my son maybe playing horse in the driveway. So I was just talking to somebody tonight. He's writing a book, and he stopped over, and I said, I'm so proud of the videos that I have, because that have three views, 5 views. I don't care how many views I get, and nobody listening here should care. Just keep putting out content that you believe in, and all of a sudden, like, I got some videos on TikTok or Twitter or whatever that have 150,000 views, but then another video has 5, whatever. But I look at them, I'm proud of them all.
That is wonderful. And I love what you just said. It's like, whether it's 3 views or 30,000 views, be proud of what you have. If you love what you're doing, and you knowing that you're making a difference, even in your own life, I think that's amazing. If you can embrace that philosophy, that you're doing it for you. Yeah, it's good to know that people are encouraged or inspired. Every once in a while, I know for myself, when I put things out, it's not a a bestseller, a big hit, but it's awesome how somebody comes along my path, and I'll get an email, or I'll get some type of communication or call or face-to-face somebody, and they're like, man, I really enjoyed what you shared the other day. And I'm like, that is amazing. Just the fact that there's these different avenues that we can share inspiration. I appreciate you being part of that light, Dominick, as far as what you're doing. Now,
No,
go ahead.
Go on.
No, I was just looking. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile. You're talking about writing a book in 2020. And I don't know if you're going to bring that up, but could you share more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, you'll find with me that I'm a straight shooter. So if you got to edit me or something where you're like, man, this guy's nuts, I don't mind you
No,
thinking that.
I love it.
But really, so I've written these books in the past. In my first book, I don't even want to talk about it, because it wasn't good enough. And you make so many mistakes in the publishing process when I sold my rights where I only got 20 cents a book, but when I sold books, I have friends that had to buy 3,000 books. I put out my first book, like I said, it wasn't, I thought it was edited. I didn't know the process. And I learned through trial and error. I was not a trained author, or, it wasn't my trait or training that made me an author. I just thought I had something to share. So over the years, now that people would hear me speak, or once I started writing these books, all of a sudden Carnegie Mellon would have me come speak, or somebody from New York would have me come be on TV. And I'm like, wait, I'm telling stories about pulling weeds, and stuff like that. But you started telling these stories and being honest about your journey. Yeah, there was times I messed up. There was times I sold my rights. There was times I made mistakes. And what the goal of this book is, how to write a book in 2020. It's to show the reader, if you want to write a book, you can do it. There's never been a better time than right now. The literacy rates are higher than they've ever been. So more people are reading, no matter what people say, more people are actually reading. It's cheaper than ever to publish a book. So if you're telling me cost is your issue, really it's not. Go do it yourself if you want. If you don't
Right.
find Simon and Schuster, do it yourself. So I give you these tips and tools, and it's a straight shooting book where I'm just going to tell you, here's how you do. If you really want to do it, here's how you can do it, and it's a step by step book like that.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure you're going to allow us to point us in that direction, those that are looking to do that. I've written a book titled Your Purpose, Your Rap, How to Stop Drifting and Start Living. And I told you that was a journey to write that thing and to self-publish it and everything else. I'm looking at my library in my office here, and I'm like, all of these books, I don't know. It's something about holding paper and words on a paper in your hand that it makes it special, don't you think?
Absolutely. They're never going to go away. There are ebooks. I believe in ebooks, but
Yeah.
books are always, when you're riding on an airplane, people want a book. When I think about The Great Gatsby, I want to read about it in the book, not see Robert Redford on TV who didn't look like the Gatsby I thought Gatsby was going to be.
So true. Everybody wants tangible things in your hand. And I think print media is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So even though we do have the technology, the ebooks and the everything we can access mobily, it's not going away. And I think there's some value when we're talking about writing books. Now share me. You're the father of two children, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, being a father and going through the experience that you went through, and leaving your home at 23 and charting off into the business world, what kind of things are you instilling right now in your kids as they're growing up and kind of watching you and following you in your footsteps? Or what kind of things right now are kind of hot buttons on your list as a father that you're wanting to pass on?
One of the things that is huge with me is accountability. I want whatever it is. If you spilled a glass of water, if you were late for the school bus, if I did something, whatever it is, we all make mistakes, but I just want you to be accountable for it. Take responsibility. I did that. I was wrong. Now move on. How are we going to fix it? But you have to acknowledge if you ever want to get better at anything, you write in a book, me write in a book, the podcast, you got to accept. I would bet, Milton, that your first podcast wasn't as good as your 100th or 10th or whatever it was.
Right. Awkward.
Yeah. Right. I hear you. So big thing with me, accountability. I'm huge on respect too. Everybody deserves respect, but you need to treat everybody with that, just how you would want to be treated. And those are two of the lessons that every day I'm trying to drop little hints and things like that. So little by little, inch by inch, life is a cinch, yard by yard, life is hard.
That's right. I love that. I don't know who came up with that. I can't remember if that's
I don't know. That might be some parable. I don't know.
some Dr. Seuss. I don't know. It's but I love that. That we can do a lot together, and then we can just take one step at a time. That is cool. Now looking outwardly, and the things that you've done, and right now the people that you're helping and the platforms you're speaking on. You might have covered this, but just to ask you this question again, what are some pain points that you're hearing out in the public space regarding, and where you find ways to remedy or to give, some medicine to?
That's a good one. One of the things people always that I hear is I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time for whatever it is. If it's fitness, if it's family, if it's relationship, it's always I don't have time. But I would say to them that you make time for the things you want.
Ah, yes.
And I'm a big believer in stealing the minutes wherever you can steal the minutes. Like if somebody wants to write a book, well, dictate into your phone while your kid's at soccer. Or if do some stuff early in the morning so that you can spend more time in your relationship. Get up early and go to the gym or work out in your house before everybody else is up. There are enough hours in the day. You're just not using them wisely. You're screwing around. But I am not a huge fan of people playing Candy Crush all the time.
I hear you on that.
Yeah, come on, do something else.
It's like, you're like, how good are you on Candy Crush? That should be an opening question. How good are you on Candy Crush? And so, to figure out where people do spend their time. So, I think that is key when people don't value the time that they do have, and come up with excuses not to do the things that they really really desire to do. Like if they were really, if they had 7 days to live in their live on this earth, would they be playing Candy Crush, or would they be trying to pump out that book that's in them, or do that thing that really they want to leave behind?
I love it.
I think we all have that capability to do that. Awesome. I want to get into my maximizing moment questions with you, Dominic, if you're ready to do that.
Okay, bring it on.
Awesome. Give me your favorite quote and explain why and how it helps you.
I like Winston Churchill. In the quote I'm going to give you is, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." And I'm a big believer that life is like a roller coaster. I can promise you that whatever up that I've said I've had, or whatever down I've said I had, I am going to fail again. I am probably going to fail 1,000 times again, but I'll be up, I'll be down, and whatever happens, I can handle it either way. And that, like as you asked before, like about what do you see people, what problems do they have? They're so unhappy with their current situation, but sometimes you just have to appreciate all the things you have, like your eyes, your ears, your health, your family, your friends, your car, your job, whatever it is, roof over your head. And so you'll be up, you'll be down. Don't let it affect you so much.
Awesome. Love Winston Churchill too. Thanks. That's a good quote. So next question for you, Dominic, is give me a moment where, when looking back, you let slip away and it impacted your life at some level.
That's a good question. I mean, not that all, Milton, you're a good dude. Not that all your questions aren't great, but that is a good question. And what I'll say is, I don't talk about this very much, but I remember one time, I'm a big Dale Carnegie guy, and I think his books still stand. I've studied all of them, and at one point, I was going to get a job with Dale Carnegie. And it was like the beginning of me being in motivation. It was after I went broke and things like that. And I was working at the Yellow Pages at the time. And I didn't take that job with Dale Carnegie, teaching the courses and selling the product, that kind of thing. And I wanted to be in motivation, and I loved that world already, but I didn't take the opportunity. I took a job in insurance because it was safer. And I toiled, whatever you want to say, for 10 years doing something that I didn't necessarily love. And I probably should have went for the thing that I wanted back then. Don't wait. So with anything, like me and my dad's 76, me and him just rode bikes this summer from Pennsylvania to Washington, D.C. And the reason why I bring this up is, if there's something you want in life, just do it. Do it now. Don't wait. And me and my dad, we just like, hey, we're running out of opportunities to do this. Another winter, hey, 76, 77. There's trails that go from Pittsburgh to D.C., and we've ridden a lot of them, but we never went from Pennsylvania the whole way to D.C. So we set out there. A hurricane had just come through, actually. Hurricane, I don't know which one it was this past summer, but it had just come through. There was floods everywhere, but me and my dad, we went for it, and we had the best journey, and we made it to our destination, Washington, D.C., and I'll never forget it.
Wow. So just do it. If you can do it, just do it now. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate that. Next question for you, Dominic. Have you ever had a time where you knew there was more for you to do in life or accomplish, but were in a position or job or career that didn't quite line up with that? How did you maximize those moments?
This is funny because I'd like to give you like this one moment in time where, but on the other hand, I'd like to say, that's every day. And it's probably everybody's every day. So make the most of where you're at, whether it's getting up at 5 a.m, staying up till 12 o'clock at night, and do what you got to do. Maximize the minutes wherever you can, do it. And I think eventually, all of a sudden, you're doing it. You do it. Maybe it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Just move towards the thing you want. Little by little, you'll get there.
Awesome. Good. That's powerful. That is powerful. Dom, do you have a story of a time that when maximizing the moment was important or meaningful to you?
Yeah, here's what I'll give you. So I've been a salesman for years, different kind of sales. Like I said, I sold Yellow Page ads, I sold insurance, I sold pharmaceuticals. A few years back, I was in pharmaceuticals, and we got a call. They said, don't go out. They said, it was an email. It said, don't go out into the field the next day until we have this call. So it was my first foray in pharmaceuticals. So I wait. And it says, don't go out in the field. Everybody's sending messages back and forth. I wonder what's going to happen here. So you get on this call, 100 reps, whatever it is, and they say, okay, it's like a couple weeks before Christmas. They say, okay, the company's no longer doing operations as of today. We'll give you a week to turn in all your stuff, give back the company car, and you're out of a job. And so maximizing moments. In that moment where I could hear people in despair on the phone, this conference call, that kind of thing. And while that was happening, I was in the midst of launching a company, like on my computer at the same time, launching the Motivation Champs. I was working on a book at the time. So I took the time. What did I do? With the clarity, like Derek Jeter in the ninth inning, sometimes adversity, when you've used these tools, when you've studied it, when you've studied inspiration, motivation, never given up, when you have these moments like that, all of a sudden I have mass clarity. And that's in that maximized moment. I had maximum clarity. And what I do, I finished my book, launched a company, and got a better job, just like that. Well, rather than dwelling on the past, like we talked about accountability, I accepted what happened. And maybe I was at fault. Maybe I could have sold more widgets or whatever it was I was working on at the time. But I took that moment and just like that. It was a light switch. Let's move forward.
That's amazing how you're right. Adversity can really give you super clarity on life and bring it to a point where this is this is the direction I need to go. And I appreciate you sharing that. I've experienced that a couple times in my life, and you're totally right. You hit it. You nailed it on the head. Awesome, Dom. How would you define a maximizing moment?
I would say, like I always like to say this, like just in my mind, I think everybody listening to your show is far more talented than me. You're more skilled, more talented, handsomer, prettier. I guarantee it. And what I'm saying, to me, a maximizing moment is in that time, when you face adversity, when, like I played Division III college basketball, and I had no skill. But in that moment, you make the most of what you have. I become the best me I can be. And that's the maximized moment where I go above and beyond what expectations are. And me and my dad always talk about this. Man will rise to his highest level of incompetency on his own. So it doesn't take your boss telling you something or this happening. You're going to do what you can handle. And as far as I don't think I'm limited yet. I'm just going to keep on going. And I think your listeners can too.
That's a great definition. Thank you for that. Thank you. If you could add some 3 immediate action steps, and Maximize are all about action steps, but if there's maybe 3 things that you can share to help them maximize the defining moment in their life, what would that be?
All right. Simple, sweet. Here it is. You got to set the goal. Whatever your goal is, you got to set the goal. You got to write it down. You got to take oath. That's one. Set the goal. You need to make a plan, because you can have this great goal. I'm going to do X, Y, or Z. But if you don't have a plan, it's like having a map with a red X to the treasure, but you don't go there. And then the final thing is you have to just take action. You need to take massive action for that thing you want. Just okay, you got the goal, you made the plan. Now just take action. Whatever it is, take action. Google something, move forward some way, take action every day to move towards that goal.
I love that because it sounds simple, but it sounds easy, but it's not simple for a lot of people, and it's so true. It's wisdom. You're setting goals, you're making a plan, and you're taking massive action. I mean, that's if I think if maximize, if you can really just hone in on those three things and really take it to heart. And you can apply this to whether it's writing your book or getting in shape or starting that business or getting promotion, whatever it is that you really desire that you're not in a place now at but you want to be. Taking those 3 action steps is going to change your life. Dominick, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Hey, thanks, my man.
Now, do you have any parting words or comments or instructions for the audience that you want to share before we call this to a close?
Okay, cool. I would, because something's been on my. I'm a big resolution guy, and then a resolution's great, but you got to turn it into a goal, make a plan, take action. So here's what I'm going to leave you with. You, me, the listeners, 2019 is your year. Don't let your limiting beliefs or anybody else's limiting beliefs define you. So don't let what happened in the past, don't think too small, don't let these limiting beliefs define you. And that's what I want to leave with you. Leave you with.
Wonderful. That is wonderful.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible, and I love what you said. 2019, this is your year, and I think a lot of years in the past we've made it other people's year, and I think we need to make it our year. Maximizer, this is your year. So I want to thank you for your time, Dominick, and all the wisdom that you're sharing, the inspiration that you're sharing, all the good that you're adding into this world, utilizing your talents and your time to really change lives. And so I thank you. So how do you want them to find you? How do you want them to connect with you? What are you promoting right now that I can help with?
Okay, you are the man. I appreciate it, and I'm honored to be on the show. Thank you, and it was definitely fun. So here's what I would do. My brand, my company, it's called Motivation Champs, and we're everywhere. Motivation Champs. Everywhere we are, we're under Motivation Champs. Look us up on Facebook. Look us up on Instagram, on YouTube. It's all Motivation Champs. And then we just launched, and we're super excited about it because we hit #1 in a bunch of categories on Amazon. But we just launched that book. It's an ebook, How to Write a Book in 2020, and it's only $3.99. So I say to people, hey, can you spend $3.99 to save yourself pain, agony, heartache, time if you want to write a book? And
Maximizers, please follow Dominick Domasky on all social media streams under Motivational Champ. He is very responsive and he loves to share. So if you got anything inspirational or motivational to share, go to his website, and he's loved to broadcast and give you some help and hope. I hope you enjoyed this message today and this podcast. Please share it on your social media streams. We love you. We thank you. God bless, Maximizers. Hey guys, thank you for joining on this fire episode of Maximizing Moments with Milton. Please join my miltonherring.com. Sign up for my email digest. You get it weekly in your inbox, fire in your inbox. Thank you for sharing, listening, and commenting. And again, God bless you guys.